Manners maketh man. Do you know what that means? Well, let me teach you a lesson. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? What's up, guys?
So, Beauty and the Beast,
Kong Skull Island,
Logan,
Episode 8, Last Jedi
The
teaser
best
trailer.
love letters to Hollywood that we have
This
ever
film
seen.
is a masterpiece. So, until the next time, goodbye.
Kingsman: The Golden Circle is the sequel to 2014's Kingsman: The Secret Service, which was really successful. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great film. So, as you can expect, I was really excited for the follow-up, The Golden Circle. It's once again directed by Matthew Vaughn, who directed the first one. He's done Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, a ton of good things. So, all the right elements were in place for this sequel. So, is it any good? I wouldn't say this film was disappointing because it brings back a lot of the good elements from the first film, but it's really uneven. It's too over the top in some places, all over the place. It eventually falls when it tries to be so much bigger than the first film. So it's not a crushingly disappointing film. There are some things that I still really liked about this film, but as a coherent film itself, and when compared to the first film, which was so good, it's a step down. I'm going to start with the things I liked. Taron Egerton as Eggsy, once again, is really good. The character is so fun and enjoyable, and his background as a street kid, that's brought back, and those were some of the most enjoyable elements of the first film. You have some of that, you have him continuing to learn how to be a Kingsman, and the challenges he faces after the events of the first film. Mark Strong as Merlin is also great in the film. He's funny, and Mark Strong is just a classy actor. So the characters haven't changed at all since the first film. They're still lovable characters, and they're essentially what makes this film watchable. The first half an hour of this film is really good. There's a really cool car chase. We get to see some great scenery of London. It's the part of the film that shares the tone of the first film the most, and the tone of the first film is what I was really hoping for in this second film. And personally, I don't think we get enough of it. What made the first Kingsman so great was that classiness, that gentlemanness, that suave character that defined the Kingsman. We do get some of that, and that first half an hour in this sequel is really good because it shares so much of what made the first film great. As I said before, Eggsy and all the parts with his friends and his relationship with the Swedish princess, that's all really fun and enjoyable to watch. The action scenes as well, despite there being far too many of them, are entertaining to watch because the sheer audacity of them and the CGI and the camera work and the whole enjoyment factor and the fact that they're trying so hard to make you go, wow, just has to be praised. So it's not an unenjoyable watch. There are some really fun moments, and the action scenes, despite being so over the top, are fun to watch. Also, Henry Jackman's score from the first film, which I used in the beginning of the video, as you saw I was spoofing the bar fight scene from the first film, is still really good. And it has some variations, but it's still really cool, great music, and those are the things that I really liked. It has some great Kingsman stuff, but honestly, there isn't enough good Kingsman stuff in this sequel. So let's talk about some of the things that I really didn't like about Kingsman: The Golden Circle. First of all, its pacing is all over the place. The film is way too long. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes. The first film was just over 2 hours, and it was a brisk 2 hours. It was never dull, it was never boring. This film, however, since it goes so over the top and it goes bigger and it builds on everything it did in the first film, all those action scenes really dragged the pacing down. In the first film, there weren't that many action scenes. There was the bar fight scene and the incredible church scene. Those two scenes stand out to so many people because A, they're really well done, and that style of action was so innovative, and B, the film wasn't filled with action. There were decent portions of the film where it was just focused on Eggsy and his family life and his training and things with Harry and Eggsy. When you finally got these bursts of intense action, you thought, wow, I didn't see this coming. In this film, there are so many action scenes. It feels like you could leave the film when there was an action scene going on. The action scene ended while you were away, and you could come back and there was a new action scene that had already started. It's all over the place, and that really drags the film down. And so since the film's so long, the narrative is just really unfocused. In the first film, you had some simple elements. You had the setup of Eggsy, you had Eggsy completing his training, and the final fight against Valentine. 3 simple acts. That was perfect. In this film, it doesn't follow that conventional 3-act structure. It sort of flips between all these different moments, and they don't all combine that well to form that one coherent narrative that the first film had. In this film, you've got Eggsy and his girlfriend, Eggsy and the statesman, Eggsy and the Kingsman, Julianne Moore, a subplot with the president. Even Elton John shows up. Elton John, people thought that he'd just have a cameo in this film. He has an actual proper part, and he's funny sometimes. I should have said that earlier on. And ultimately, every time Elton John shows up, you're like, why is Elton John in this film so much? God. So the film really could have benefited from a more straightforward story. Julianne Moore as the villain didn't work for me. There's nothing to her character. Her plan doesn't make much sense. In the first film, Richard Valentine's plan made sense. He saw that humanity couldn't control climate change anymore, so the only way to fix the world was to get rid of a ton of people. Simple. Messed up, but simple. Julianne's Moore plan in this film is really confusing and it's never really explained that well. She's this head of a massive drug corporation and she basically poisons her own drugs so that the president can legalize drugs so that she can be taken seriously as a businesswoman. It's just never really explained that well. And also as a character, and I don't know if the direction or the script messed this up, she just doesn't work very well as a villain. Another aspect of the film that people were really looking forward to were the statesmen, the American cousins. Unfortunately, despite being a great idea, they're just not used that much. Jeff Bridges maybe has 2 minutes of screen time. Channing Tatum is there in the beginning, but then they make a decision to just take him out of the film, so he's not in the film until the very end. It just seems like a wasted opportunity. Halle Berry has some things to do, and she has a kind of fun interplay with Mark Strong, but overall the statesmen feel like a missed opportunity. Colin Firth's revival didn't need to be in the trailers. We didn't need to know about it. It could have been such a great surprise if we didn't know about it and we saw the Golden Circle and Colin Firth showed up and we're like, no way. How did they do that? I would have appreciated it if they actually did something good with this character, because Harry Hart was such an amazing character in the first film, and they bring him back, and I don't like the way they treated how he was brought back, and then they don't give him anything to do in the film. He has a few lines, and it's so nice to see Colin Firth back in the Kingsman. But again, it's a missed opportunity. And I can't help but compare it to the first film, but the Golden Circle does something that sequels really shouldn't do, and that is it makes you miss the first film while you're watching the sequel. It even goes as far as to recreate an entire scene from the first film, but this time it just doesn't fit and doesn't make sense in the story. So ultimately, Kingsman: The Golden Circle took everything from the first film and made it bigger, but to diminishing returns. Taron Egerton is still great as Eggsy, Mark Strong, Colin Firth, all the Kingsmen are really fun. The first half an hour I really enjoyed. All the stuff in London, the scenery, it's great. All the stuff that is similar in tone to the first film, that sense of awe and wonder that Eggsy first had when he saw the Kingsman base. The morals of the Kingsman, standing up for the good in the world, but maintaining good character as well and being a good person compared to the villain, that was a great contrast that they again used very well in this film. Everything with the Kingsman is great. Also, there are some fun action sequences. However, they go way too over the top in the action, too many action scenes, Julianne Moore's villain really didn't work for me, and the statesman felt like a big missed opportunity. Overall, it just felt really jumbled, too many shifts in tone, and really unfocused. I'm going to give Kingsman: The Golden Circle a C+. It's never boring, but it's just not as good as the first film. Hopefully for Kingsman 3, Matthew Vaughn learns his mistakes from this film and does what he did so well in the first film. So, those were my thoughts on Kingsman: The Golden Circle. What did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and until the next time, goodbye.